Good afternoon, everybody. So mic check. How could you hear? How are you guys receiving me on this mic check? So I'm gonna talk about a few things in relation to the current events, what's going on with the assaults, and what we're doing about it as a union, and what we can do together to force the MTA to do their due diligence to protect us. So at the end of the day, they are responsible for our safety, and I'll explain why and how that is. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit for some more people to get on. This is an interactive. We can communicate, conversate. If you have a question, I'll answer it. If I don't get to you, I'll answer it when we get off the live. To my best of my abilities. Just give me a couple seconds. All right. This is this is a private group, so you can only share this live within the group. There's reasons why I keep this group private, because there's things that you may want to say and communicate that you do not want management to know about. And I'm not saying that this not it's a foolproof system, but I try to make it where we don't have management in our stuff. Now that doesn't mean that someone won't share this with management or won't copy the video through the many mechanisms that's on the iPhone and the different phones that's out there. So be mindful of all of that. We want solutions, and we don't want nobody targeted. And that's, essentially the position that I'm taking and I have always taken. So without further ado, I'm going to start off. I'm going to get right into it. As of lately, New York City Transit, the MTA, has been sending out their system safety folks to different locations. They've been showing up at the bus depots, and they have been checking for things like seat belts and things of that nature, to make sure that we're, number one, have our seat belts on going out the building, and number two, see that we pre-trip for that particular issue. Now, I have a problem with that, and as I'm sure that everyone has a problem with that. It's almost like they take the MTA has just taken this onus and said, you know what, we're going to show that we're doing something. We're going to go out, we're going to check the bus operator, and we're going to see if the bus operator is doing something safe. And they're going to target seatbelts and then turn around and say, for lack of let's say you forgot to put your seatbelt on or whatever, or you took it off for a second to make an adjustment. Then they're gonna say they're gonna either write you up or give you some type of advice or warning on that seatbelt. But are they sending the system safety out into the system where all this crime has been occurring? No, they're not. They're not doing that. So we have to do something that will attack the situation that's been going on. Now, just to give you, I'm going to kind of go through some current events, and this is not going to be long. It's going to be interactive. I do expect you don't have to agree with me on things. You can speak your mind. I've always been that way. I'm never going to knock you off the site for having your opinion. You can have your opinion. You know, I'm just gonna make a disclaimer and a note. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean that your opinion is necessarily correct. Sometimes people have, they talk, they spread their narrative, and other people spread that same narrative, and then they think the narrative is a factual narrative, and that's not always the case, right? Which is why, we get out here and we do some of these things. This is the live that I do. I represent in MapStoa, but it's not a TWU sanction. So the disclaimer of this being attached to TWU, I'm going to say it here. This is not a TWU sanction live. This is just something that I want to share on my members with the group. I called this a virtual ShopGate so I can let you know what's going on. So as recently as the fall, the Transit Authority has taken the position under Carlos Pacheco. He's the chief officer in safety, and they have taken spitting grievances, or should I say spitting assaults, and they turned them into regular injury on duty cases. Now the union, which started in TA Service, the union has what's called a spit grievance at Al. Now that at Al spit grievance was filed shortly after they stopped considering our spit grievances as assaults. So we had a step 2 on that particular grievance on November 30th. That case will be heard on March 7th in arbitration. I don't expect that case to go forward right away because the Transit Authority has a right to adjourn just as much as we do have a right to adjourn. So if they're not ready to put that case on, that case might not go might not go forward on that particular date. However, it is the union's position that the spitting issues being labeled as assaults have been labeled a practice for us since maybe 2005, and for MapStoa employees even longer. So simply put, we expect to win this grievance, but it does propose to be some problems, especially for folks who have lawyers and they go to the comp board, and the concern is a workers' comp attorney going up to the board arguing the case of spitting and utilizing the law to make their case. Under the law, the police, at least the police, they utilize spitting issues as a harassment. So we're just concerned with that small piece, but outside of that, it's been a practice since 2005 and longer with MapStoa. So give me 1 second. Let me just wow. All right, so I just got a text about a bus striking and a male and killing the male. And it's funny how the news operates because we're under the understanding that our operator has not been involved with that. So I'll get into that. That's another matter. But moving on to back to the spit grievance. I apologize. I got a lot going on. March 7th, it'll be an arbitration. And I'll report back to stay tuned on that. Bus operator safety. That's a big concern of ours. The union has actively pursued partitions that would totally encapsulate the bus operator. Right now, MTA Bus has this particular partition. If they only have one, and so far the operators in that depot who get that bus seem to like that partition. Now the holdup had seemed to be this e-mirror that the Transit Authority was going after. So because the e-mirrors got knocked down or delayed by the Department of Motor Vehicles, was because the Department of Motor Vehicles under their rules states that in order for you to have any kind of electronic mirrors, you still must have all your regular mirrors on your bus. So right now, New York City Transit is in pursuit of trying to change those rules. I believe they want the input of our union, but I believe, and this is my position, I believe that if we have a solution that doesn't, if we have a solution and there's no need for electronic mirrors with that solution, then why would we endorse electronic mirrors? So the jury is kind of still out on that particular situation. We are still pressuring New York City Transit to get us fully encapsulated. Some people don't want to be fully encapsulated, and that's understandable. When we first had the partitions put in many, many moons ago, it was because of a brother by the name of Edwin Thomas who was killed in the line of duty out of Flatbush Depot. And we had a BOAC committee, which is the Bus Operator SOAP Committee. And, these are the group of folks that came together and decided that we wanted these type of protections for our operators. So we do have discussions. We sit in a format in a group, top 11, and we discuss some of these things on the union side, and then we have these little meetings with management. And the folks that I talk to in management always seem to be agreeable about safety, except when it's time to put things into action, they move like molasses. So are they really agreeable? I'm kind of finding that a little bit hard to believe, but we're still pushing the issue. Now, the assaults, the thing that's going on now, we have assaults, we have crimes, we have violent acts on the transit system, and it's not only our people, it is also members of the public. Now, the slashing on the subway in particular, it's the worst thing that I've seen in years. And let me tell you something. I've been around a while and I've seen some things, and that was like really terrible, terrible, terrible. Prayers go out to that guy's family. I hope for a speedy recovery for that brother. At the end of the day, we all want these assaults and these crime spree to stop. We all want justice, but it appears that the DAs, and I'm not going to really speak names, but maybe our Manhattan DA, he doesn't really move to lock people up. And a lot of the folks that's committing these crimes are supposedly emotionally disturbed people. And then on top of these emotionally disturbed people, they want you, the operator, to go and take a de-escalation course. And then they will hold you to that de-escalation course in the event that you get assaulted or you go out on injury on duty. They will hold you to that de-escalation course because if they challenge your case and take you to the workers' comp board for whatever reason, they are going to utilize the fact that you took a de-escalation course. But let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. In order for you to de-escalate an emotionally disturbed person, you have to first know what triggers them. Now, how do I know that? I was talking to a guy from NYU safety, and he used to work in a psychiatric hospital. And in the psychiatric hospital, everybody has a different trigger. So you have to know their particular trigger and utilize a de-escalation technique geared to that particular trigger. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm going to challenge the MTAs, well, at least on the bus side of the house, I'm going to challenge the de-escalation courses that they're giving our operators. All right, these are things. Everything that we're doing is going to come full circle into what the Transit Authority's job is. Now, you're going to hear me say this several times. The New York City Transit Authority, the MTA, Jano Lieber, Richard Davey, whomever is in charge of the MTA is responsible for our safety. Period. Point blank. We're a public authority. We fall under the Department of Labor's law of workplace violence and protection. They are responsible for protecting us. Now, within these laws, they put things like de-escalation, right? So that's them trying to slither, and I'm going to say slither their snakish ways into protecting us under the law. It's no protection for us. It's a protection for the MTA. This is their way of trying to guarantee them their own protection, right? So I doesn't need everybody to know the Transit Authority is responsible for our safety. We often go out there and we talk about we need more police presence, we need this, and the union goes out there and we may talk to the mayor, we may talk to all the politicians, we may talk to the senators and the assembly people and everybody in city government, even the chiefs of police and even maybe the commissioner, to try to achieve these things. But the bottom line is the MTA is the one responsible for trying to make things good on our end. Period. Right? Again, like I said, the workplace violence and protection law. These things are supposed to be the employer's responsibility in protecting us. Each technique, like I said, is different. It's based on triggers. So one of the things I wanted to get on here and say today is I wanted to tell you what we're doing about certain things. So we are talking to politicians. There are meetings with the top 11, and we actually have discussions on how we're going to deal with the media, because just recently when it came to the train operator who got assaulted, right? The train operator. I want to share something with you guys. Let's give me a second. The train operator. The press had made a statement based off of what the MTA has said. Now, I'm going to get into that with y'all real quick. I'm going to read the whole article because I kind of want you guys to know what's going on, just in case you may have not heard about it. You may have not heard the article in the New York Times. So, in the New York Times, and this was written on February 29th, 2024, it was said New York City Transit workers responded to an overnight slashing attack that injured a train conductor. Stopped work to file safety complaints on Thursday morning, causing several disruptions in subway service. The slashing occurred at about 3:40 a.m. on a southbound A train in Brooklyn. During the morning rush hours, workers staged. Now I want you to hear the word that the New York Times are using. The workers staged the job action at the 207th Street station on the A line and the 168th Street station on the A and C lines in Manhattan. The workers declined to fulfill their assigned jobs, leading to the disruptions, according to two transit officials with knowledge of the situation. Union leaders resisted calling the service disruptions a protest. Workers filed the safety resolution forms, which is called the Safety Dispute Resolution Form, through their representatives, and said Richard Davis, the president of TW Local 100, which represents cities' subway bus workers, the forms assure workers that the tracks are safe to operate on. Now, I want you to understand what this comment means, because no one is safe because the assailant is still at large. So the safety dispute resolution form is designed for management to come down and then basically clear the area, clear the safety. And then it becomes management's responsibility. That's usually how we use the form when we're dealing with equipment issues, maybe facility issues. Now, in this particular situation, we're talking about human life. Right now, no one is safe. The things are out of control. It is out of control. I'm going to continue. The form assures workers that the tracks are safe to operate on. The delays occurred as employees were waiting for the forms to be cleared by managers, Mr. Davis said. Transit leaders at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, however, called the move by the union members a disguised work stoppage that ultimately did not address their concerns. Wait a second. Let's stop right there. This was disguised as a work stoppage? You mean to tell me that one of our members get stabbed, slashed, and everybody, if you saw the pictures, it was a couple inches to the left or a couple inches to the right, it would have cut his main artery, and then that brother might not have made it home to his family. So we didn't this whole safety issue did not address our real concerns, and it was disguised as a work stoppage. This is how the MTA takes their position. What the MTA should have got on the New York Times and said is they should have been very sympathetic to the brother's family and the brother and our union, and said we're doing all we can to catch this individual. But that's not what they said here, right? At a separate news conference, Richard Davey, who is the president of New York City Transit, who is the president of the Department of Buses and the Department of Trains, right? Richard Davey, president of the MTA division that operates the subway, called the morning disruptions unacceptable. So the slashing was acceptable, but the disruptions were unacceptable. Let me know what you're talking about here, because words matter. And then he further goes on to say the union leadership decided to put on some kind of work stoppage charade, which impacted a couple of 100,000 New Yorkers. I'm sorry to tell you, this was no charade. One of our members was severely injured. I think it was attempted murder, if you really want to know. So we're not creating no acts here. Something happened, and we're responding to what happened. and we're responding to what's called a safety resolution dispute form. Fill it out. Let us know that we're going to guarantee our safety. If you can't guarantee that, stop the work. Commutes today. I'm gonna a couple hundred thousands of New Yorkers commutes today. He said, adding, they've assured me that conduct will no longer occur. The attacks on Thursday further inflamed long simmering complaints that the MTA, the state agency that runs the transit system, has not done enough to guarantee workers' safety. Now I want to go backwards. I'm going to go backwards a bit. Just hang in there with me. President Richard Davey of New York City Transit said that our union assured him that the conduct will no longer occur. Well, that is a misrepresentation of the truth. The TWU president gave no such assurances. In fact, we will embrace all safety, in anything safety that's available in our contract. We will embrace it and we will use it for our disposal to protect our members. That's what we're saying. So we didn't give no insurances, nor would we give no insurances. They're playing word games. Remember, just the other week, our president's statements, and what happened? In the statements, the MTA press gets on there and says that we're blaming the police for not protecting us, which is so far from the truth. We're not blaming the police. We're blaming New York City Transit and the MTA for not enforcing the law, workplace violence, and protection. All right? The attack on Thursday further inflamed long simmering complaints that the MTA, the state agency that runs the transit system, has not done enough to guarantee workers' safety. Right? So, again, it goes back to what I said. I said I would say it several times. The workplace violence and protection law. They have to protect us under this law. So, several transit workers have been assaulted while on the job in recent weeks, leading union leaders to ask that more transit officers be added to the stations. On February 14, a station agent's eye socket was fractured following her being pushed down a platform and punched. In a separate episode, a conductor was hit in the face with a tennis ball, according to reports. In a news release, Mr. Davis said employees were deeply concerned about their safety. We need better protection now before we lose one of our own. In the attack that occurred early Thursday, a conductor, Alton Scott, was assaulted while on duty at the Rockaway Avenue station on the A line along Fulton Street in Brooklyn, according to news release from Local 100. Mr. Scott, 59, who has worked for the authority for 24 years, was making routine observations from the cab window of a train when he was attacked. They said he was taken to Brookdale Hospital Medical Center where he received 34 stitches. I'm going to close on this one article when he says Mr. Scott was listed in stable condition on Thursday evening, according to the police. There had been no arrests in the case. So I don't know. I just received a message that my live video had been blocked. I don't know if there was some type of interruption, but listen. I'm gonna get it. Let me. I don't know where it got interrupted at, but just understand this. Whatever's going on out in these streets right now is unacceptable, and we have many rules that's impacting us on our response to getting assaulted. Right? Bus operators, train operators, conductors, You do whatever you need to do to get home to your families. Right? Let the union deal with whatever breaking of rules that must occur in order for us to get home safe to our families. I'm saying it right here in public. All right, I'm not hiding. Some of the recommendations that I have, and I just said it, do whatever you need to do to get home to your families, and don't put yourself in a compromising situation. We have Lobby Day coming up. We have a big push for Tier 6. Brother Alexander Kemp is going to be leading that charge. We're going to have ShopGates on that issue. And we're pushing laws to eliminate the cap. And we're pushing assault bills. We're pushing spitting bills. We need you guys involved. The unfortunate thing is we have a lot of spin and narratives going on within our own local, and not for nothing, it's always been that way. So I'm not gonna point fingers and say this is something that's all of a sudden. As a union, we should stick together, but we don't always do that. Some of the innocent folks that's out here that just want to come and do their job, they may get caught up in the vortex of the politics that goes on around here. I'm just gonna tell you that I offer you my 30 years of knowledge around here, and will do all I can to protect you. And all I'm asking you guys to do is to make sure you get home safe to your families. And please, can we give a prayer to the conductor who was assaulted? Give a prayer to our bus operator who was assaulted in Tuskegee Depot. Give a prayer to the station agent who was assaulted. And we will continue to move forward. Now, I did promise to let you know a few things. Now, I wanted to now we met as early as the 23rd, the top 11. Well, we met and we was discussing safety, right? At the Union Hall, we was discussing how we would plan to alleviate some of these things. We was talking about the whole union. We was talking about the B line, Liberty line, because they're part of our union. The MTA bus. We was talking about the RTO. We was talking about Surface Transit, Brooklyn bus, Manhattan and Bronx. We was talking about the Rich Davy, Jano Lebo, and we was discussing, would we even want to do a joint rally with them. And at this point, I wouldn't do no joint rally with them. And I don't think that our president wants to do a joint rally with them either, because at the end of the day, they're responsible for our safety. We don't want to do nothing joint with them. Then we was talking about the MTA press defense statement against TWU statement. Right, and that's the one where I told you the guy Matt from the MTA said that we was complaining about the police when in fact that wasn't even said. We was discussing on how we can get a public support coalition of union, and which union should be involved, and talking about the EDP, the emotional disturbed person. We was talking about the de-escalation that the MTA has and how it's geared to protect the MTA and not us. We was talking about minimum penalties for assault. And even some of us is asking to weaponize the transit workers. Let's weaponize us. But we don't expect that to move really. We was discussing the spit grievance, tier 6, de-escalation, mental health, homelessness, outreach, neighborhood clergies, congestive pricing. Of course, we was bringing that up too, because all of this stuff that I'm talking about has something to do with each other. It's like a domino effect. When you tap the domino, the other dominoes are falling down. Everything impacts each other. The people are angry out here. You got the people who are angry. You got the people who are avoiding paying the fare. You got the good people who pay the fare, and then they want to know why they're paying the fare. You got this congestive pricing, who's really, what are they doing? They're just pricing out, working class people from coming into Midtown Manhattan. They're claiming that this is going to improve transportation. They're going to add more service. I'm going to tell you what this really is. This is a money grab. Are they going to actually add and make service to transit? Well, let me bring y'all guys down memory lane. So the union has always been involved with trying to protect money, like the lock boxes and all that, and then state government taking money dedicated to the MTA and using it elsewhere, and in times like now, you see the impacts, and now they have to create something else, which is no more than a disguised tax for working people to get to work, right? Because we don't have a carve out. Us workers don't have a carve out. So this is nothing but a tax on us if we want to get to work on time. So I'm just going to say, have a good day, everybody. And I'll respond to you guys offline. Be safe.